Scorched Earth, the second DLC to ever come to Ark. A very iconic one, with wyverns now being introduced, and also a large, vast desert landscape, which had never been seen or done before. The island has no desert maps whatsoever, so it definitely was a huge influence when Scorched Earth came onto the scene of Ark. And with its varying weather conditions and very harsh environment, it styled a new way of living in Ark and a new way for you to survive. And in this video, I am taking 10 Ark days, which is roughly equivalent to 10 hours, although it ran on to about 13 hours. I don't know. My days must have been a little bit longer, or that might just be Scorched Earth. I'm going to be tackling Scorched Earth for 10 days, and my goal is to beat it. And will I? You will find out all the way at the end of this video. But just before we get into it, make sure to subscribe, as I have poured hours and hours into this video, and I really hope that you all enjoy it. And also consider subscribing to the membership as well. It is only a $5 a month, and you can get access to all kinds of exclusive content, and you can even ask for the content which you want. Obviously no 100 days episodes weekly, considering this video has taken me about 6 days, or maybe 5 days. Yeah, 5 days at the time of me recording this to make, so a lot of work does go into videos like this. And if you subscribe to the memberships, then you can get your say in what the next big adventure I am going to take on is. So without further ado, let's get into day one. So day one just simply started with me making a basic character. I didn't fiddle around with any of the settings, and I just named it after what I wanted, and then tried to spawn at Green Orb, and my game crashed, but soon I began. Right, so now that we just spawned in, I'm going to need to get some berries and just kind of start the general journey of Ark. So as you can tell there, I was definitely very excited to start this challenge. I know, sarcasm's great. But either way, soon I was arriving at Green Orb, and I just got to work absolutely hacking and slashing everything which I could, just making some basic reusable spears, because I had a reusables mod. Used your general pick, hatchet, spears, started unlocking some engrams, picking some bushes, and just really getting started in Ark with all of those basic essentials. And the fact that I was in Green Orb, in an oasis area, it meant I wasn't overheating, and I had constant access to water for when I needed it. And also I was very quick to make a campfire, as I did need to make some kind of meat. Made sure to unlock the awesome spyglass as soon as possible, as that thing was definitely very crucial for this run, and I am so thankful for that mod existing. And there's just, yeah, these are all the basics of Ark which you always have to get done every single day one, and I'm glad that I did this quickly and efficiently. Oh, the capra's dead. Okay, we'll harvest that. Then soon after that creepy event, base building started. I'll just do it down here. Just get the foundations in. Then what followed was probably the worst attempt ever at me taming a parasaur, trying to use a reusable slingshot, which at the time I didn't realise I needed a lot of ammo for. I just don't want to hit the gacha when knocking this parasaur out. I need to make my way straight back. This was just too early on, I think. But as if it couldn't get worse, what happened next was worse. This might not go particularly well for us. Oh no, it's not. Yeah. Level 900. Not great. But that's why we made the bed. There's always an opportunity for a respawn. I will have a death counter. But as if my luck was getting worse, the same thing happened again. Right, what I want to do, aggro the capra and get it kind of, oh, that didn't really do much actually, and the terrorbird. And I know you can bowl a dire wolf, but we died anyway. But then after this, I got back on task. Make all the arrows we can, and then back on the hat grind. Now I've just really got to wait for these narcotics to craft. Then obviously I waited for those narcotics to craft like a true drug dealer and started making some tranks, as I had very much decided that the slingshot wasn't the way to go, and I placed another bed down just in case of more deaths. I'm gonna go for a parasaur again. It's fine. Right, we bouldered the parasaur, and now we're just gonna have to shoot you. And I'm sorry, but the thing is, I don't know what its torpor is. I don't have the awesome spyglass, which would be so useful. Oh no, it's knocked out. It's knocked out. It's knocked out. That's good. Right, just chuck measures in it. Then I also had a brief encounter with a very high health Pego. Why has it got that much health? That seems unnecessary. Didn't mean to kill that Jaboa though. That was actually kind of sad. Then the rest of day one was just spent mining and gathering, and especially gathering as much chitin as I could, as I was really trying to get the bulk forge, which would be used across the whole run to give me such high amounts of metal. And I also did start gathering my own metal too, which was obviously a necessary step into making a smithy, and also you need to put that in the forge anyway to smelt, to even make things like the smithy and other metal tools. But also my parasaur had just tamed too. This is honestly gonna give so much progress to the game, which is great, and you know, I look forward to it. As Gacha arrives, it is the start of day 2. I think at this point I might have been going a little bit crazy, as I meant Raptor Claws and not Gacha Claws. But either way, to start day 2, this one was actually a little bit more boring than day 1. And I started off by making some hide gear, as you know, I felt as if I did need to kind of feel like I was actually making progress in this game. But this was definitely a day of making. But at least on this day we did get the bulk forge, which was a really nice thing. You can tell by this statement. That happened, which is kind of nice. Then from here, I would say this is a pretty much useless day, as I scaled this mountain in search for crystal to find none. Right, I've kind of scouted, and it's like over there on these kind of mountains. And then after that, I experienced what being God would be like. Yeah, I've fallen asleep, and that's gonna be a death right there. Or not. I guess I am immune to fall damage. Yeah. I'm dead. Kind of needed to happen anyway, didn't it? Now, in this next stage of the day, a lot happened again. Firstly, my parasaur died, which you'll see briefly as this clip goes on. I'm pretty sure a Thorny Dragon killed it. So later in the day, I did try and tame another one, which you'll see how that goes. And then also, I started going on the absolute crystal craze, as I just started absolutely just running towards those mountains and trying to get that crystal, which I had none of, and the reason for this was because of the awesome spyglass. Get this crystal, get as much as you can. And from that you can hear that I was in great desperation, but luckily I did survive the whole affair and then come back pretty much in one piece. But on the way I did have to stop in a tent for a bit because my heat stroke and health was so low, a common recurrence throughout the series. But then I actually probably made the smartest decision in the run to tame a Lie Mantria, and I must say it went very well. So the torpor's going up, it's going up, it's going up, it's going up, and up. And then that torpor just kept going up throughout. And obviously the tent method is one of the best which you can actually use for this creature, as it will trap it with no issues at all, and it can't get out, so cheap and so easy to use. Definitely try it if you haven't already. But the day's drama was not over yet, as I got into a very sticky situation with the Thyla for about 3 minutes, which I will spare you the time of as I have sped it up for you. But also, I mentioned that parasaur earlier. Here is how that tame went. I can do this easy. There you go. These 12 Mojo Berries, I've got 18. As day 3 began, that parasaur tamed. I'm just gonna name it Thanks. And as I came back to my base, which was heavily fortified now, as we'd learnt our lesson from the previous parasaur death. Also, I should have mentioned that I did do this to the base. I did this in day 2, not day 3. You might have seen it, or it might have been cut out, but you know, I didn't feel like another Parasaur death, so that's why that happened. Oh yeah, I also tamed a Jaboa, and obviously Jabobros. Then also the Lymantria, which took seemingly years to tame, actually tamed. Oh, it's tamed. I'm just gonna call this, oh gosh, this took so long to tame. And with a name as majestic as oh my gosh, this took so long to tame, which shortened to oh my gosh, this took so, I had myself probably the best tame along this whole kind of challenge, you could call it. Yeah, this is a challenge. Either way, you'll see why this creature is so useful later on. Then throughout the rest of day 3, essentially what I did was I started to tame a Thyla, which was a cool thing, and yeah, I went through many stages of the trap process, of course, as I started it in wood, and wood didn't work, but then I did it in stone, and also I did get an explorer note to level up my Lymantria a bit, which did definitely work in the Lymantria's favour, as it was extremely slow, and I didn't really want that. And also I gathered just some other resources as well, and if you didn't know already, I did upgrade my base a little bit to have some stone foundations, which was a nice additional thing to have, which really just boosted the base really, and meant that it couldn't, you know, it couldn't be destroyed by a creature if they tried to destroy it. And also, just to finish the day, the Thyla got tamed as well. To start day 4, we used the Thyla, and it was so close to doing the perfect amount of damage, but it still did a very decent amount. And from the statement here, you have the perfect summary.
If it did 1 less damage for those other ones, it'd be 69-69.
Nice.
After my hilarious joking, I went Deathworm hunting, but to no avail. And after a long day out with the Thyla and doing a couple of dino wipes to actually get me a high level Rex, I did find a Rex and I started to go to it and then obviously tame it. Also, to gather together my army for the Manticore, I decided to tame the highest level Rex on the map, which was a level 1560 tech Rex. Definitely an absolute beast, and I spent absolutely ages designing a trap for this thing. Not as in the actual trap took ages to be designed, but simply just because I used wood to start with, which is dumb because Rex does deal damage to wood. And yeah, that didn't really go well, you could probably tell, and many other variables just went wrong. But the 2x2 stone trap with 2 high stone door frames, obviously S+ with the 4 wooden ramps, was definitely the way to go. And it did actually take a little bit of effort to tame, and I'm pretty sure it broke my tent as well, which is one of the worst things that can actually happen out when you're taming something, as yeah, the tent is an absolute lifesaver, as it will stop you from getting heat stroke, and it also means you're not going to be taking damage from overheating, so dehydration really isn't that bad. The tent is just absolutely OP, you have to get one, but here's just me knocking it out, I guess.
Now I'm out of biting range. There we go. Okay, we can probably just crouch this one. And then eat those, yeah. And then shoot. Just gotta wait for the spillover. Yeah. I don't know why it doesn't actually to go to the full thing.
Then I also tamed a UT as well.
Right, it's gonna be the same again. Just gotta wait for this thing to tame now.
Now, excuse my very tired voice, it was early in the morning, but the first thing that happened on day 5 was the UT tamed.
I'm just gonna call it Lieutenant Dan.
The next order of business, though, was to start taming Rexes for this same army.
Boom.
Also, we needed to tame a new Thyla as a glitch, which I didn't. I cut it out of the previous day's edit, but still a glitch caused our previous Thyla to die, so we had to knock out a new one. We also managed to get a fabricator. My next task in day 5 involved placing all of the cave locations on my map, as I was going to tackle the 3 of them today with the Thyla of which I had just tamed. The first cave being located at 6045, the second being at 8075, and the last one being at 3027, if you were wondering. Then I found the entrance to the first cave and got to work, so I'm just going to give you a sped up version of all 3 caves, as I did all of them with no issues whatsoever. Also, if you were wondering about what was happening in those last 2 caves there, I encountered a bug where the artifacts didn't spawn, so I kind of had to go in and out to actually get the artifact to spawn. It wasn't too bad on the second one, was a lot worse on the third one, but either way, after the caves, I got my Thyla and started to head to the Wyvern Trenches, which is by far the worst decision I made on this run. And this is what happened in the Wyvern Trenches in day 6.
Considering the health of the Thyla right now, but we just gotta go for it. Oh no. Jabob Ross is dead. Jabob Ross is dead. I'm so sorry, Jabob Ross. I'm so sorry. Oh, there we go. Okay, they do quite a lot of damage, in all honesty. Yep, it's dead. Oh no.
By me being silent for ages, this obviously wasn't the best, and I had no idea what to do, so essentially I had to walk back, and this was what happened after the event as I parachute down into the Wyvern Trench.
Right, we're back, and oh god, I hate everything about this. The thing is, it's like I don't think our health's gonna rack up to get down there. If I get down, I can't even see. It's in there though. I just need to go for it if I am gonna go for it. I got it. Yeah, I just need to get my health back, you know?
The rest of the day though was actually spent taming the Rex army, which would be crucial for the Manticore boss fight in day 10.
He always wants a bite just before it knocks out. That animal will be easily able to be knocked out now.
I spent an egregious amount of time on this Rex. This is only just the short snippet at the start, but I waited for over an hour for this thing to heal up, and because I wasn't in the area at the time, it didn't heal, so I just didn't go for this tame at all. I just was like, no, this is not happening. And then afterwards I did end up taming a different 850 Rex, which I used for the Manticore boss fight instead of this 950.
We're really going to need to offer some time for these creatures to heal.
And we definitely would. But later on I did add a mod which fixed this, which is called Dino Healers, as there simply wasn't enough time. And here is all of the dino leveling that I did in that day, just sped up into maybe about 20 or 30 seconds. So day 7 wasn't actually particularly interesting overall, and most of the day was just spent leveling up all of those dinos and obviously healing them, of course, with the Dino Healing Brew mod, which essentially, to craft those healing brews you need 10 cooked prime meat, 5 rare flowers and 2 medical brews. Medical brews being made with tinto berries, narco berries and water in a cooking pot. And I think that that was a reasonable price to pay for 100,000 health to be healed. Also, just to mention, I didn't use any of these healing brews in the boss fight at all because I felt as if that wouldn't be right for me to do, but I used it just to heal up the creatures because all of the Rexes had over 500,000 health and they wouldn't have been able to heal properly in the about 3 days which I had. So like 3 hours I had left, they wouldn't have been able to heal up fully. Also, replacing that 950 which we didn't tame, we got an 850 Rex. We also tamed a Morellatops as well, as it was an extremely useful creature for gathering the necessary rare flowers which would be used to get the Dino Healing Brews. And that was all that really happened in day 7, and nothing else really did come forward in terms of any new tames or anything exciting. I just went around and spent the last maybe 20-30 minutes of the day just going around and harvesting these silk bushes to get as many rare flowers as possible, and that was really it. So into day 8. Day 8 was actually one of the most crucial days for getting progress in the resources required for the bosses, as the first thing I did that day was take my strongest Rex, which is called Techie because it's a Tech Rex, a level 1560 at Wild, and I went into the Wyvern Trenches, and I thought Beta only needed 2 talons of each Wyvern, but that was for Gamma, which really worked in my favour, as I thought Gamma needed no talons whatsoever, as on the island all of the bosses only need the artifacts for you to actually be able to beat them. I think the Overseer is slightly different though, you might need like the trophies on top of that as well. But either way, in terms of those bosses, it works very differently to on Scorched Earth, where you need resources for all of them. 2 talons for Gamma, 10 for Beta, and 20 for Alpha, which I didn't know at the time. But obviously still gathering talons was a very useful thing, and I couldn't spell poison there for some reason, but I didn't really need to find a poison wyvern because soon there was just one on me anyway. But yes, this was a very crucial step in my progress for gathering all of these talons, as it was necessary for the Manticore boss fight.
And we died. We're right here. Okay, run for it.
Also, this is when I realised it was for Gamma and not Beta to have 2 Wyvern talons.
There we go. We could do the Gamma. Oh, Gamma is 2.
For the rest of day 8 though, it was pretty much just the same as day 7, and I went around gathering all of those rare flowers, and then it finally came to the end of day 8 as we go into day 9. But there was one thing which happened at the night of day 8 which I definitely still need to put in this day 8 section.
Drops happened, boys.
Day 9 was again another chilled one. Essentially what we did first is give all of that food that we got from the presents, which is those holly leaves and coal, to the gacha, and then it gave us some crystals, and then we headed back to base. But now it's time to open the gacha's presents.
We'll start with the lower tier one. Okay, that's a Phlegon skin. This one, festive dino candy. And a really OP family sniper. Sadly, I won't be able to use that. Also, let's chuck the chibi in. And I'm going to name this Scorched. I know I spelled it wrong there. 10 days.
Then, as a final thing for day 9, the last thing we did was gather all of the creatures up in the centers. They've now all been healed with those dino healers, and I needed no more of those things whatsoever. Again, I'm not going to use any of those in the boss fight, and I was really ready to face the Gamma Manticore. Yes, I wanted to face the Alpha at first, but with time constraints and all of that, we would just have to settle for Gamma, and I was really excited in this moment to be walking up to the arena where I would fight the Manticore the next day. And also, just to mention this, for the boss fight, I'm going to have to overdub all the audio because my mic, if you couldn't tell from day 9 already, it's kind of been pretty glitchy, and it's even worse through the boss fight, and I don't want to get you to bear with all of that, so I'm just going to give you the highlights of the boss fight with stuff that I've overdubbed. So, as day 10 began, we saw Raptor Claws rising over the moon in this cinematic shot, and I promise it wasn't planned, but it's insane at how we could get such a beautiful view to celebrate this last day on Scorched Earth and the last day of the challenge. And I was really looking forward to doing this boss fight, but also really sad to leave this world behind, as after this I would never see it again. Once arriving back at base pretty promptly very early in the morning, I took my chibi Shinehorn with me, which we had got from the gacha gifts, and said goodbye to everyone and started up the boss fight. But the drama wasn't over at this point. Soon 2 Capros came racing straight after me, or it may have been 1. No, it was 2. There were just so many of these things around the area, just trying to spoil this final moment for me. But luckily, my Yuti stepped in to give me a little helping hand. And so we spawned in the boss fight, and I ordered all of my creatures to do whistle attack my target, and I also ordered them all to follow as I gathered myself into the center of the arena. Although shortly afterwards I would notice that one of the Rexes was left behind, and I would have to go and quickly nab it up again. That is the benefit of the awesome spyglass though. You can easily see if any of the creatures are left behind because of that bright green glow. But soon it did unstick itself from the wall and pry itself out into the boss arena. Soon afterwards, the Manticore landed, and I whistled all of my creatures on it with full force, and this is my only opportunity to deal the damage to the Manticore. You can see it has 100k health there. One of my Rexes is just being absolutely just weird by the side, not doing anything, but it soon does step into the fight, and it brings in all of that damage. And as Deathworms spawn around me, I start to defeat them, and also I do forget to roar until very shortly, even though that would have really helped in the battle. And I actually start with the fear roar, which I really shouldn't have done because I forgot the key binding for it. But shortly after, just as the Manticore takes off, I do the courage roar. I'm making sure in my mind from here that I am actually going to use that roar when the Manticore lands again, and it lands really quickly back down, and instantly I whistle those Rexes on it straight again. And then I remember, after for some reason leveling up my Yuti, which was pretty useless, to do that courage roar to make my Rexes deal even more damage to this thing. At this point the Manticore was below half health. We were over halfway there for this battle being finished. There were more Deathworms spawning around me as I just kept going up to them and somehow destroying them. Their health is actually quite low on the Gamma boss fight. I'm not sure if it scales. Then the Manticore lands again, and I send my army in, all out. All of them have to get in on this fight, and soon I join in as well, as I think this may be the last moment. But soon it takes off again, and very soon after, the rock elementals are upon me. although they don't pose much of a threat due to their very slow movement. And I know I just can't focus on them, and I have to focus on the only 10k health which is left on the Manticore. I charge in all of my creatures as the rock elementals surround me, just as we try to ease in that final amount of battle, and it takes off just at the last moment, leaving a tiny slither of health left for us to deal. And I really can't wait for this thing to land again, as it means victory for us. And as it lands, very, very quickly, I must add, we send all of the Rexes which I can muster. All 5 of them, of course. None of them actually did die during this fight, and like that, the Manticore, albeit on Gamma, was defeated. And the amount of relief I felt when doing this boss fight and actually beating it was insane. The dossier came up and the spirits were really, really high, and I'm sorry that my mic bugged out and I had to narrate over it, as you can't really hear my excitement over this boss fight because it kind of sounds like I'm just dying because of the mic glitch. But either way, there's only one thing left to do. Let's get into that Ascension cutscene.
You continue to impress, Survivor. As you have grown in strength, I have been searching Helena's memories, finding what I have forgotten all these long years. Her friends, and the journeys they had. Was it all for nothing? No. It had to be done, so that one day you could exist. Together, you and I, we can put this right. You must travel onwards, Survivor, for your greatest trials are still to come.
And to conclude the end of this challenge, I can't thank you enough if you have made it this far in the video. And if you have, make sure to subscribe, as it means you must have enjoyed this video if you are engaged enough in the content. And also, again, consider joining. That membership of mine is only a $5 a month, and you get your say on what big video comes next, this being the first of the big videos out there, as I really want to give you the best content instead of just sticking to the boring old top 10s. I really couldn't have done this without you. Thanks for joining me.